How to sell merchandise. Awesome. So, that actually fits in really well with one of the things I've been doing is outlining all sorts of creator business models. And because, again, if you're going to think like a media empire, and this is what I think all creators should do, then you can realize that instead of getting the audience and then thinking about it, you can actually prep for this so that when you do have the audience, it's already there. And so let's talk merchandise sales. And we will give that a start here in 7 seconds when it hits the top of the minute. We're going to try to do it in 5 minutes flat here, but we'll see. Okay. All right. Let's talk merchandise. As a creator, it has become easier than ever to be able to sell merchandise. And this is actually really impressive because in the early days of YouTube and kind of online creators, there was actually a pushback against any time you tried to monetize anything, because they would be like, oh, you're just a fucking sellout. And as I've been listening to some of these creators who have been doing it for a number of years, like, they were talking about how difficult it was in those early days to actually like monetize anything. Because people would view it as selling out, and people would say like, oh, you're just trying to make a quick buck. First of all, being a creator is a terrible way to make a quick buck. I do not recommend it if that's what you're in here. And so there has been a really big mindset shift here in terms of how audiences view creators and how they view monetization. And so people tend to flock to creators, and they want to be part of that tribe. And so providing merchandise that actually lets them show off the fact that they are part of this community, right? They are part of this tribe. And it also supports the creator that they care about. And so, if you think about it in terms of your favorite sports team, why do you buy their merchandise? Going to show off that you're a fan. It goes to help the team. Maybe you showcase your favorite player, right? You buy a jersey. But it all comes down to this idea that you want to support and you want to be part of it. And yes, I think jerseys would actually be an incredible merch item. That might be a little harder with some of the kind of just-in-time printing, but I don't know. We'll have to look that up. I think that is doable. But the idea here now is that you don't actually need to prepay for merchandise. It's all print on demand. And so as a creator, if you come up with the designs, that's all you've got to do. And at that point, it becomes figuring out what people want, offering it to them, and then, just letting them know it's there as a way that they can support you, as a way that they can show that they are part of this group. And it actually goes even beyond just apparel. You can do merchandise in all sorts of ways. And I will kind of call back on one of the ideas that my son watches YouTube, and he has some favorite creators. One of the creators on YouTube that he follows is dropping his own board game or card game or something along those lines. As a creator, there's an infinite amount of things that you can actually produce. Now, it's pretty easy and free, again, to kind of produce clothing items because of this idea of print on demand and just putting it out there. Now, the more intricate you get, the harder it becomes because you've got to figure out kind of the manufacturing process. You might have to prototype it, figure out where to go with it. But all of that is actually doable. So if you have the idea for something like that, and you want to create something truly unique, it's possible. But it can be harder. But it's all getting easier by the day. So keep that in mind too. Especially with the rise of 3D printing, we're going to see kind of these print on demand with more than just clothing items, because you're going to be able to actually print different physical objects, different pieces, all sorts of things. There's some really cool stuff happening with that. So we can definitely get into that in a later lesson on kind of all the possibilities that are coming. But the reality is, you can pretty much create anything that you come up with. Now, doing it in a way that's profitable, a little harder, but doable, because you'll essentially be able to figure out how to do it, figure out what the cost of that is, and then you'll have to sell it for more than that. And again, you don't actually need the audience before you do this. You can figure all of that out, figure out what the profit margins are, and then determine what you have to sell it for, and then figure out how much of an audience you would need to actually make that a profitable business. And that's kind of, again, gets back to the cool idea of what it means to be a creator and a creator-first business, and this building in public, because you can make all of that happen without doing the long part first and then the other part. Like, you don't have to build the audience first and do that. You can figure it out while you're building the audience. And in fact, you should, because building audience takes time. And being able to think about all of these different things while building your audience puts you ahead when you finally have the audience. And that's why it makes a lot of sense to not do this after the fact and not rely on platforms to monetize you, because you won't need nearly as big of an audience to monetize a lot of these things this way as you will to make a lot of money on YouTube. So with merchandise, one of my biggest recommendations is to tie it in to your content. And, you know, again, whether it's an inside joke, whether it's something you said that really resonated with your audience, whether it's, you know, some sort of style of something that kind of fits what your audience likes, that's something that you know as a creator, because you're able, you know, you're in touch with your audience, you know what they like, you're creating content for them, they're interacting with your content, so you have that kind of as a data point. And so figure out what's there, and then, you know, create merchandise around that. And again, it's all pretty easy to figure out, because, you know, you've got Shopify that has all these tools for being able to put this stuff out there. If you're listening, Shopify, totally feel free to sponsor me here. You know, there's all sorts of different things that you can use to actually create all of this infrastructure, create all of this merchandise, and have it available for sale for really very little effort, especially compared to what it was 5, 10, 20 years ago, when, you know, to order any of it, you'd be like, oh, I'm going to make a t-shirt, so I'm going to have to order 30,000 t-shirts because that's the minimum order, and then I've got to figure out how to sell 30,000 fucking t-shirts. Now it's like, I can do this and literally just sell one t-shirt, and it will ship, and they'll get it, and it's all handled super easy. So with merchandise, again, tie it in, figure it out before you have an audience, and then use your audience to kind of fine-tune what that merchandise offered is, figure out what they like, and then give them a way to show that they are part of your tribe and that they resonate with what you're saying, because they're going to want to show it off, because it's just like wearing a team jersey.